Hey, what's up, soldiers? My name is GregFPS, the Zombies Extraordinaire, and today we're going to be ranking every single Treyarch Zombies character. And this one's going to be a little interesting, I think, because I did this a few weeks ago, or maybe even a month ago, for a video that Legend HD made, where he had 100 zombies YouTubers make a ranking, and then he like calculated it all and got a ranking for every single character. So I'm going to link that down below, but I don't remember exactly what I did. So I'm going to be going through it with you guys and seeing what I think about all the different characters. So without further ado, guys, let's hop right into it. All right, guys, so the first person is Alistair Rhodes, and Chaos storyline's over, unfortunately. He was mentioned in Vanguard once. This one's tough. I'm gonna put him in D. I think he's like a decent character, but it's really annoying when Scarlet talks about him 24/7. So I think he's going in D. Next up, we have our boy Arthur, or Leroy. Automatic S tier. Buried is definitely one of my favorite maps of all time, and I think that he is just one of the best characters. He doesn't talk or anything. He just goes kind of like that because he wants booze and candy. But other than that, I love Arthur, and one of my favorite things in all of Call of Duty Zombies. For Billy Handsome, I'm also going to put him in S. I think he's one of the absolute best characters when it comes to Mob of the Dead. So he has to go up there. Mob's my favorite map, as you guys know. And yeah, Billy Handsome's actually insane. So definitely going in there. Next up, we have Bruno. And I'm going to put Bruno in B. I think Bruno is pretty cool when you can understand what he's saying, because he has a very, very heavy French accent. But other than that, I think he's a really cool character and just an absolute badass, especially when he punches that guy on Voyage of Despair in the trailer and just like absolutely like decks the guy. So he's cool, and he comes in B. All right, now, guys, next up we have Mackenzie Carver, one of the Cold War guys that gets arrested at the end. I'm also going to put him in B tier because I think Cold War story kind of sucked, but yeah, he wasn't really that interesting to me at all, so he's going in D. Next up we have Fidel Castro. He's going in C tier. I think he has some really cool quotes like "Viva la Revolution" and stuff like that, which is cool. But I don't think he's that great of a character. I mean, to be fair, it was really cool. Like 5 has an amazing cast and everything, but I don't think Fidel Castro was as good as some of the others. Next up, we have Danny Trejo. He is going in A. One of my favorite actors when it comes to different movies that he's done, and I think the best thing he ever did was being in Breaking Bad as Tortuga, if you guys have watched that. But anyways, I'm putting him in A. I think Danny Trejo is just an absolute badass, and the fact that we got to play as him in Call of the Dead is really cool. Next up, we have Samantha Maxis, and this is going to be the Cold War version of Samantha. I'm going to put her in B. I definitely think that it was really cool playing as her and like saving her as herself on Firebase Z like I did with my friends. Everyone bought the bundle with Samantha, like literally everyone. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with her character now that she's back in the Dark Aethers. So that's going to be pretty interesting, but overall, cool character. Next up, we got my man, Tank Dempsey. Automatic #1 in the S tier so far. Tank is just one of my favorite characters. The emotion that he shows, everything about him, all his quotes, he's just an absolute badass. So he's going in S. Next up, we have Diego Nakali, and I am going to put him in S tier as well. It may shock you guys, but Diego is actually my favorite character when it comes to the Chaos storyline. I really, really like how like suave he was, if that makes sense. But the fact that he saved Scarlet at the end of Ancient Evil just bumped him up a lot for me. So I'm going to put him in the S tier so far. So next up, guys, is going to be Stanley Ferguson. Who? Interesting. My boy Tommy is almost 6. Ain't that swell? I'm going to put him in C tier. He's kind of forgettable. He's not Brutus, like, because they retconned it. Even though, like, Sal says Do you hear that? He sounds like Ferguson. So I think he's probably better than C. I'm going to put him in B. Pretty cool character. Obviously, the Mob of the Dead intro, he's iconic. And that's basically all we really see of him, unless you count the phone calls that you can hear on Shadows of Evil, where he's giving his account of different things at Mob. So that's pretty cool. Next up, guys, we have Finn O'Leary. He also owns Finn O'Leary B and L on Shadows of Evil. I'm going to put him in the A tier. Definitely the weakest of the Mob of the Dead crew. He still has some really cool quotes. Like, I think when he's repairing a barrier, he says, "The effing Irish, we built this country anyway," or something like that. Very iconic character. Just awesome that he's Michael Madsen in Zombies, but we're going to put him at A. All right, guys, next up is the Forsaken. I'm going to put him in F tier just because of how bad the boss fight was. That was like the easiest boss fight in all of Call of Duty Zombies, and considering it was the last map in Cold War, that is a massive yikes. So he's going in F tier. Don't really think he was that important. He showed up just for one map at the end, and yeah, the boss fight was very anticlimactic. So we're going to put him in F, but Samantha did go inside of him to go back into the dark ether, which is interesting. So we'll see how that turns out later on. Next up, we have George A. Romero, another S tier Zombies character. We're going to put him behind Arthur, though. But another amazing character. Actually, we'll put him last on this. Danny Trejo was great on Call of the Dead, but George Romero was excellent. It was such a cool thing to have him on the map. He's stalking you. Really pisses me off when he just follow me around. I can't train much except unless I go in the lighthouse, and if I accidentally shoot his pinky toe, he starts chasing you, which is really annoying. But we're gonna put him in the S tier for now. Definitely a very cool character. All right, guys, next up we have Gersh. I can't remember his first name, but we're gonna put him in D tier. Pretty interesting character, just for like making the Gersh device, which is an amazing device. Obviously, on Ascension and Moon, we can use it. Very cool character in general, but he doesn't really contribute that much to the story. I think the biggest contribution is during the GK Easter egg when you have to shoot his orb with a packed gun. But other than that, he's kind of a mediocre character, kind of one of the background characters, I would say. So he comes in here at the number D spot. All right, not a number, but the letter D. Next up, we have our boy, dude. Oh my gosh, this is a tough one, man. I think that Godfrey is like, yeah, Godfrey is an A tier character. Super, super cool character on Dead of the Night. One of my favorites, honestly. So I think he deserves to be an A. He's really cool. You get that dark Godfrey quotes and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, he's going in A. Next up, guys, we have Dr. Gray. Pretty interesting character, I would say. This is Dr. Gray, right? Or am I thinking of someone else? I think it is. I hope it is. That's how much sorry. I couldn't even remember her name, so I'm just gonna keep her unforgettable. Next up, guys, we have Dr. Groff. Put him in C. Fairly important character, I would say, when it comes to Horizon Drac, of course, when you go back in time and all that stuff. So we're gonna put him in C. Next up is Jackie F and V, one of my favorite characters, and you can't forget his name because he says it 40 million times when you play as him. I'm gonna put him in B. I think he's a pretty overall decent character and pretty interesting. So all right, guys, next up we have a JFK automatic S tier character. He is from my home state of Massachusetts, an absolute legend, and he has some amazing quotes on 5. And usually if I'm doing some challenge where I have to play every map or something, I will reset until we get JFK, because honestly, if I'm playing as like McNamara or Richard Nixon, it's just an automatic L. So he is going in the S. Speaking of forgettable characters, we have Richard Nixon next. 5 is not a forgettable map, but he's a forgettable character, so I'm gonna put him in forgettable just as like an overall bad character, I would say. Very annoying quotes, not really that great. So we're going to put him in forgettable. Next up is Marlton. Marlton is actually my favorite character from the Victus crew. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to put him in A. I think he's a really good character and overall awesome. So next up, guys, we have Dr. Maxis. I'm going to put him in B tier. I think that he obviously contributes a lot to the story, but why would you grab the summoning key and release the Shadow Man to destroy the perfect world where the children are? Get out of here, dude. What an absolute dunce. So he's going in the B tier. All right, next up we have the Oracle from Ancient Evil, Medusa. I'm gonna put her in B tier. Honestly, like, I thought everyone knew it was Medusa, but I mean, the way she walks, I'm not gonna lie, looked pretty interesting, or I guess sexy for a video game. But overall, it was pretty cool what she did, like reading or kissing. All right, we're gonna move on, guys. Next up, we have Michael Rooker, another great character from Call of the Dead. He is going in B tier as well. Definitely a great character without a doubt. Next up, guys, we have Misty. I'm gonna put her right next to the Oracle. Misty is a great character. She actually has some really cool quotes, like not even talking about, you know, the other thing. I think Misty's really cool in general, and I think she deserves to be in the B. All right, guys, next up we got Nero Blackstone, automatic S tier character. Jeff Goldblum is a national treasure, absolute iconic actor from Jurassic Park and a bunch of other stuff. So I think he's just a great character in general. His quotes are great, and he definitely deserves to be in the S tier. Next up, we have Nikolai Belinsky. He is another S tier character. Honestly, just so iconic. He's pretty much the guy running the show at the end of BO4. He is, and that was great. So I think he deserves to be an S tier. Next up, we have Nikolai Belinsky, the Ultimus version. Now we're gonna put him right next to the Primus version. Absolute badass. He has some amazing quotes about drinking vodka and all his wives, even though he's only been married once and she died when the bombs fell and she was taken from us. But we're gonna put him in S tier. Absolute badass character. I love how they included him on Gorod Krovi. It was so cool. So he is going in the S tier. All right, guys, next up we have Robert McNamara, the Secretary of Defense for JFK, on 5. And he reminds me a lot of Marlton, but not in the good way, I guess. They both are super nerds, but he's not as good as Marlton in my opinion. I'm going to put him in the C tier. I think he's a decent character, but along with Fidel Castro, he's just not that great compared to like JFK, for example. Next up, guys, we have Dr. Peck from Firebase Z, and he's also talking to you on Mauer. Really interesting, and he's also on Forsaken as well. Really cool character, actually. I really do like how he was a villain. So we're gonna put him in A tier. I'm really interested to see how it's gonna play out with the Dark Ether story. But yeah, he's a great character. Next up, we have Raptor 1. I'm gonna put him in B tier. Everybody loves Raptor 1. Absolute awesome guy for all those exfils he did for everyone in Cold War. So we're gonna put him in B. I'm glad he didn't die in the second Outbreak Easter egg. Next up, we have Ravenov, and I'm gonna put him in C tier. Pretty cool character, and actually, you know what? We're gonna bump him up to B just for that fight sequence that we get when doing the first Outbreak Easter egg, where he's just absolutely kicking those Russians' ass. Absolutely awesome scene. So yeah, he's going in B. Next up, we have Primus, our boy Edward Richtofen, the best character in all of Call of Duty Zombies, without a doubt. He was the nicest one, and he will forever live in our hearts. That moment on Blood of the Dead where he died and sacrificed himself, man, that hits home every time. So yeah, he's the best character in Call of Duty Zombies history. I don't think I can replace him, to be honest. Next up, guys, is Ultimus Richtofen. I'm gonna put him right up there with him. I do think he's like fourth. I think that Primus, Tank Dempsey, and Nikolai are better, but Ultimus Richtofen is another like absolute badass character. He's like, we will bathe in their blood of my children and all this weird stuff. I wish I could speak in his accent. I can, unfortunately. All right, guys, next up we have Robert Englund. We're gonna put him in the C tier. Kind of a mediocre character. He's Freddy Krueger, but Uh, yeah, he's just not as good as some of the other ones, I would say, on Call of the Dead. Next up, we have Russman. And did you guys know that Brock from Shangri-La, his last name's actually Russman, which is pretty interesting. Anyways, it's not related at all. But I think Russman is a cool character. He has some nice quotes. So we're going to put him in B. I think he's a pretty good character in general. Next up, guys, is Sal DeLuca. Definitely the best Mob of the Dead character. I'm going to put him right behind Arthur. Definitely one of my favorite characters in all of Call of Duty Zombies. Next up, guys, we have Samantha, the original, the little girl. I think she's 11 or 9. I can't remember. Anyways, guys, she might even be 7. I have no idea. But she's definitely really cool. And it's nice that you can play as her because she switched bodies with Richtofen, which again is so weird. I remember hearing that for the first time back in the day and just thinking how weird that was. I'm gonna put her in S tier. She definitely is super important to the zombies storyline in general. So yeah, S tier for sure. Next up is Sarah Michelle Gellar. We're gonna just put her with the other females that have what's going on, So she's definitely a cool character though, super badass. That kick in the intro is really cool. So yeah, she's going there. Next up, we have Scarlet. I'm gonna put Scarlet in A. Although on 9 and Voyage of Despair, she is the most annoying character of all time because my father this, my father that, I hate everything. I'm gonna complain the entire game, and it's gonna really annoy you when you're playing as me. And then on Ancient Evil, she kind of cooled out a little bit, and it got a lot better. I think she's just like a really cool character in general, so she's going in A. Next up, guys, we have the Shadow Man. We'll put him in C. I think he was just the boss fights on Shadows and Rev at the end were just so bad. Like they were the same exact thing. You just shoot him and then interact. I don't know. Definitely mediocre. He's going in C. Next up, guys, we have Shaw, automatic S tier character. I love Shaw. All his quotes are super super good. And yeah, I really really like him. So yeah, he's going in the S tier. All right, guys. Next up, we have the other doctor. I can't remember his name either. I don't know why it's escaping me. For all you Cold War fans, I'm sorry. I can't remember this guy's name. Is it Dr. Gray or was that her? I literally can't remember. So forgettable. I'm sorry. Next up, we have Samuel Stuhlinger. Annoying character. Oh my gosh. C tier. Absolutely annoying, dude. He complains constantly about Misty and Marlton, and he's friends with Russman, which doesn't really help him in this case. He's just really annoying. It's cool that Richtofen talks to him, but why the hell would eating zombie flesh be a good idea? Why would you join the flesh? What the hell is going on with that? That is like one of the weirdest things in all of Call of Duty Zombies storyline. Like the flesh is just really weird. I don't know what they were thinking, but anyways, C tier. Next up, we have Primus Takeo. He is going right up top, but behind Arthur. He's not as good as the other Primus characters, but he's still an amazing character. Next up, we have Ultimus Takeo. I'm actually going to put him in A. Definitely the weakest of the Ultimus crew. He had some kind of lame quotes overall, talking about how he really liked the taste of Quick Revive because it reminds him of sushi and fish. Weirdo. Next up, guys, we have Ted. We're going to put Ted in the A tier as well. We'll put him at the end. I think Ted's a cool character. Door privileges have been effing revoked. The fact that Ted swears at you is just absolutely amazing. So, great character. Really cool for Transit, but literally the only good thing about Transit, to be honest. So, yeah, he's going there. Next up, guys, we have our boy Ultimus Dempsey. An amazing character. Just behind Richtofen. He's a little bit better than Nikolai in my opinion. He has some amazing quotes as well. So he's going up there. All right, guys. Next we have Angelina, whatever the frick her name is. Vogel, I think it is. We're going to put her in F tier. Pretty cool, like, boss fight, actually. Like, I'm going to put her in D just because of the boss fight on Mauer der Toten. The boss fight was actually really good. No cap. So, yeah, we're going to put her in D. Next up, we have the Weasel. or Albert Arlington. He is an S tier character, my favorite character from Mob of the Dead, and obviously he plays a super important role on Mob of the Dead. You can either continue the cycle by killing him, or he can kill the other three characters and break the cycle, which is really cool. Next up, guys, we have Gregory Weaver, and he was a very good character in Cold War. I'm gonna put him in A. I think he was probably the best character in all of Cold War. The Pentagon Thief, Yuri Zavoysky. We're gonna put him in B. I think he's a very cool character. He didn't really do much besides steal your gun, but you got the introduction of the bonfire sale when you killed him, and whenever you play in a public match, he's definitely not gonna die. But if you get him in a solo game and you have Mustang and Sally's, blast that boy. Then you can obviously pack a punch on any other gun you want. So cool character, but not super interesting. All right, guys, next up we have Christina Fowler, the psychic lady, fortune teller from Dead of the Night. She has some pretty interesting quotes, and I like the character, or like the actual actor. I'm gonna put her in C. Not the greatest, but not bad either. Next up, guys, we have Floyd Campbell, the boxer from Shadows, who used brass knuckles, that cheating son of a gun. He's pretty cool. We'll put him in the C tier as well. Not the best character, but not the worst. All right, guys, next up we have Jessica Rose. I'm gonna put her in the D tier. Kind of the worst Shadows of Evil character, unfortunately. Doesn't really do that much for the story, so yeah, she's going there. Next up, guys, we have Jonathan Warwick. This guy is a pompous ass. That's all I remember about him. He has some very annoying quotes when he fights the Zulu and all that stuff. But anyways, he's going in the C tier. I'm not a huge fan of this character. I know a lot of people like Brian Blessed, who is like the voice actor for him. I think he's like the father on Peppa Pig or something. I just heard this in passing like a long time ago. But anyways, guys, yeah, he's not the greatest character. All right, guys, next up we have Gideon Jones, the cowboy from Dead of the Night. What Lucifer's ball sack is that? That's the only quote I remember from him. I'm gonna put him in B though. He's a pretty cool character. It's Kiefer Sutherland who played. He was like the main guy in the show 24 way back in like the 2000s. I actually watched a lot of those episodes back in the day, but pretty cool character, and he comes in the number B slot. All right, guys. Next up, we have Kravchenko, bad character from Cold War. We are gonna put him in D tier, and it looks like that concludes the list. So I think this is a pretty good tier list for zombies characters. If you guys want to do it for yourself, I will link it down below, and you guys can go ahead and do it yourself as well, and send it to me on Twitter at GregFPS or X or whatever they call it now. And you guys can send it to me, and I'll let you know what I think. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Today is my birthday, so I'm gonna go relax. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.